What's one thing your partner doesn't know? When we watch movies together we always snack. One of our favorites to munch on during the movie are the Sour Punch bites. She takes all the blue ones because I don't like them and they are her favorite, always says how lucky she is that worked out like that. The blue ones are also my favorite, but she can have them. How to shut a drawer at less than 126 miles per hour. Mine doesn't know how to shut a drawer at all. That her mom called for her the moment before she died. When her mom was dying she was in the room with her for almost 24 hours straight and left for 30 seconds and I was there, and in those 30 seconds her mother died, but not before calling for my wife. I don't know if it will haunt her or not, but I just don't think it's something she needs to know. He does not know that he was my teenage crush since I was 12 and I wrote so many beautiful poems on him. We have been married for 6 years and have a child together. I don't know if I will ever have the courage to tell him that have always loved him. I doesn't know just how excited I get when he gets home. I just love being around him. The dogs can hear the garage door open better than I can, so I use them as a sort of notification that he's here. But he also doesn't know how to shut the f***ing kitchen cabinets. The number of times I've almost brained myself because I stood up and the corner of a door was right above my head is absurd. My wife doesn't know her Kindle is connected to my Amazon account and I can see the many alien sex novels she's read. Man, you gotta read some of those and tell her about this weird dream you had. Kung Fu. I don't know it either, but I'm certain she doesn't know it. My hubby works an early morning shift, 6 a.m., so he goes to bed early every night. When I go to bed I always check on him and make sure the covers are covering him up, and his phone is plugged in. Just how often I check her out. She brags to her friends that I'll check her out 10 times a day. Dearest voluptuous woman, that's how many times me. I am stealing glances the entire time we share any. Make sure you catch space. When we worked together, someone kept stealing food from my husband's lunchbox. He started deliberately packing more food. He assumed the person was stealing food because they were hungry and couldn't afford it. I found out who did it. She hated him and was doing it to try to piss him off. I told her if she did it again I would make a big stink of it, but never told him because I didn't want to shatter his illusion that he was doing a nice thing for someone who really needed it. Update: I think I need to fess up tonight and let him know so many people who aren't me think he's a treasure. I may not fit in the house with how big his head is going to get after that though. Where she wants to eat. He doesn't know I'm viewing a house in an hour and that I'm moving out. I'm leaving his lying, cheating ass. Bye. That I know their Reddit account. Oh, that's dangerous. That I knew he was planning to propose to me but I still acted surprised. Married 14 years now, still haven't told him. He is so proud of the idea that he managed to surprise me. My BIL actually had to kneel twice, because he proposed in a wine cellar and the first time she thought he was looking at some bottles so just went away. That her mental illness is killing me? I just wish she could be free of it, for both our sakes. I hate seeing her struggle so much. I rub her back when she's asleep because she makes happy noises and I like to think it makes her have better dreams. I do also do this to the dog though. Y'all need another dog? I can bark. I still see my former wife dying in hospital every day. Similar for me but not every day, but I still see the last day I had with my former husband before he passed, when the nurse came out and told me and his brother that he's still not breathing and we begged they continue. Seeing him lying in the hospital bed no longer with us, seeing him lying in his casket during the wake. A lot of strong feelings that even years after I still get very emotional about. It was a very tragic event in my life. An event that made me grow up more than I should have. I don't think it really ever goes away, even after meeting someone new that you love immensely and carrying on with you life. I pretend to be asleep when he wakes up because I love how sweetly he wakes me up. This is really effing adorable. I smiled. Meanwhile, when I try to wake my wife, she has a mini heart attack. How to relax. She's always wound up about something and it's hard for her to let herself do nothing. Honestly, I'm the same way. I always feel anxiety pressing me down. My kid had made me a heart type thing at school and wanted to give it to me. I told him it was great but that always get the stuff he makes from school. Instead he should put my GF's name on it 'cause she'll love it. He gave it to her and she melted. She's got it on the fridge and has been showing it off for 2 weeks to friends and family. She keeps saying stuff like it was so nice he thought of me. And he spelled my name right and he's so sweet and on and on. It'll just be me and his secret. That most of the times I ask my wife for a hug are when she's feeling down or upset, because she doesn't like to be clingy or needy, so she internalizes and goes quiet. I tell her I need a hug because of one thing or another so I can comfort her without making her feel like she's inconveniencing me. My husband's birthday is Christmas Eve. Unfortunately, his birthday gets forgotten a lot. The first year we were married almost no one remembered, and although he claimed it didn't bother him, I could see that it really did. So now I send out a text first thing on the morning on Christmas Eve, and everyone to take a moment to wish him a happy birthday, and explicitly stated that no one is to let him know that I've sent out the text. Almost 12 years in, and he hasn't found out. She suffers from depression, and when she hits a slump she feels like laying in bed and doing nothing, even though 99.9% of the time just getting out of bed and doing something, anything, will make a dramatic difference in her day. So usually when she hits a slump I'll manufacture some fake emergency that only she can help me solve, like, hey babe, I'll think one of the cats has a scratch on his face. But he won't hold still for me to look. Of course, the cat is fine, but Elle just tricked her into getting out of bed and doing something, and that's always the hardest part. That I have a folder of photos on my computer called Places Have Found My Wife's Shoes that is legitimately filled with thousands of pictures of my wife's shoes that are neither in the closet or shoe rack. I started it years ago as a joke and it has gotten out of hand. How much I actually care and appreciate her, I can't put it into words. I don't speak well. I love her with everything have. Just wish I could show it better. Every night I turn around to cuddle him and I give his shirt a big sniff because his smell makes me relax. I'm happy with how wholesome this thread turned out. I thought it was gonna be filled with some dark-ass secrets. I found his Reddit account. I was a little scared to look at first, not because I think he's hiding anything, but we say all kinds of weird when we think people aren't looking. It's all cycling nonsense, and one comment about he hears me fart in my sleep sometimes even though deny it, and thinks it's cute. Bless him, he's the effing best. I bought the flowers his workplace sent him when his mother died. Everyone else in his family were sent flowers by their work except him, and I was utterly furious. He's a teacher and both of us have made a lot of personal sacrifices for his job, but when I contacted them I was told they couldn't send him anything because it would set a precedent or some bollocks. So I told them I'd pay and I bought a huge bouquet and sent it to him. It really meant a lot, which makes me even sadder. When we were dating she tickled my feet and I acted as if I wasn't ticklish. 13 years later she will tickle them and be amazed I am not ticklish every time it tickles. I have to hide this forever. My wife is the biggest softie for animals, and we have birds that nest right in a column on our porch. One day a baby bird fell out and she saw, well, it ended up dying, but I buried it and told her that I saw the mama bird come down and get it. It made her day so much better that haven't had the heart to tell her it died and probably never will. I also distract her whenever I see roadkill coming up, or tell her it was just a plastic bag or something. When I shower she thinks I make an absurdly loud noise when I'm washing my butt. Really, I'm just squeezing water in my palm, but it's much funnier that she thinks it's my butt. Even done this while we were both in there to really get her going. My wife is prone to nightmares and often whimpers or screams in her sleep when she has one. I can reassure her without waking her and get her to feel safe enough that she makes happy little cooing noises while she's still sound asleep. I've been doing this for her for over 30 years. Whenever we get fast food to go, she enjoys eating the extra fries which have fallen out of their carriage and into the bag. I'm not really sure why she enjoys them so much, but whenever there aren't any, I drop a few down when grabbing my fries secretly and then give her the bag. It's been 8 years, haha. I always grab my fries last and she's never noticed. Very early in the relationship, after the second date, his monitor broke right on Sunday. I knew he was an avid gamer. So I quickly bought a 27 monitor on eBay and told him had that laying around. While he was on the way to me, I power walked through half the town to get it and quickly changed clothes because it was drizzling. He had low income and no money and I didn't want him to feel like he's in my debt. We're over 2 years together now. Our cat has a health insurance policy. Edit. Cat tax. Is it because your cat also likes lasagna? I tell my wife everything. I overshare. I'm an open book. She's got an intense phobia of bed bugs. Her best friend called me to help identify and help clean after finding some bed bugs. I'm probably never going to tell her that I'm proposing this Saturday. Y'all better not tell. I struggle to want to stay on this planet, so I always set small goals to keep going. Things to look forward to. I've been doing this for my whole life. That I don't need to read aloud. My girlfriend struggles with insomnia, but for some reason when I talk to her late at night she passes out almost immediately. So whenever I read a book I read out loud softly under the guise that it helps me focus. It works every time. Differential equations. Doesn't matter as long as you're integrated with her or him. For a period of time when we were toddlers he lived directly behind me. He remembers a little girl coming outside like twice, hate the outdoors, and loves the fact that it was his future wife. He tells the story all of the time. At the age he mentioned, I didn't live there. I was a bit older when we moved in. It was another little girl. Wish I did though. The story makes him so happy, so I will forever be that little girl he saw in her backyard a couple of times when we were 3. Nice try, Rebecca. Which materials go in the yellow and blue recycling bins? How to clean the oatmeal dish. Always leaves visible chunks and then hangs it up like it's clean. She has a PhD in chemistry. I didn't say I love you first. I had said I love it referring to her laugh and she misheard me, and responded with I love you too. We had been dating for almost a year at that point and I realized there was no point correcting her since I did actually love her. 8 years and a wedding later and she still doesn't know, and I'll probably take it to my grave. He knows because I tell him a lot, but I don't think he fully understands how much I love and rely on him. I don't think he could know without being in my head, but I have pretty acute anxiety. I know enough about my anxiety to know when I'm freaking out over nothing, so I try to keep it mostly contained to my own brain and keep the external freakouts to a minimum. Just his presence keeps me grounded and calm. He is my best friend and I don't know if I could have accomplished most of what I have without him. How highly I think of her. She is brilliant and capable but has the most insane and deeply rooted case of imposter syndrome I've ever seen. I try to give her the better half of life. If there are 2 pieces of pizza left and 1 piece is burnt, I'll take the burnt one. She gets the good piece. If I'm going to shower and there's 1 normal towel left, I will use a hand rag or something to dry off. She gets the towel. If there's that unwanted end of the bread loaf, I'll make myself a sandwich using that sad end piece. I'll then make her sandwich with the good pieces. I do this all the time for the smallest things. She never knows. I try to make her life better in those small ways. That when I tell her I don't want her to make cookies cause we are being healthy, that I really want her to make cookies. My father-in-law got a bloody nose at our wedding reception, because he thought it would be okay to grind his crotch on and whisper I've been dreaming of F-ing you all night to my mom on the dance floor. My mother-in-law saw the whole thing with many others, hence the bloody nose. I'm fairly certain my wife does not know. Edit, my mother-in-law punched him. I'm just happy I can still form sentences about this. Apologies for the word salad. I always give him the bigger towel, leave him the bigger slice of pizza, make sure there's a few bites of food in the pan because he likes to sneak extra when he puts the dishes in the sink after dinner, hang the covers a little longer on his side of the bed, leave the last 3 cookies so he has at least 2 and can leave the last one for me like he likes to do. The list goes on and on, but he will never know how much joy he brings me and how he saves my life every day. Okay, sap is over, back to regular, unwholesome interneting. I bet she only knows pi to like 10 digits. I know all of the digits in pi. There's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. How to clean up as she goes along while cooking. When she's done cooking, the kitchen is a fricking mess. How to turn a light off when she leaves a room. How to mate with knight and bishop. What a effing noob. I put no salt into his salt shaker he keeps on his table near his video games. He is notorious for oversalting his food and has high blood pressure. I've been doing this for almost 4 years now. He can't tell the difference. I plan to propose next week. That I'm over 4 years sober. You think they would have noticed, but when I started going to AA at lunch at work after a hard year of trying and failing, sobriety finally stuck. I had been sober a month and she accused me of being drunk again and that I was obviously sneaking alcohol and clearly I was hungover and that I was a loser who would never get his S together. I thought, well, I won't say anything and work on myself until even she will notice. Did. I stayed sober, I got fit, I ran a marathon, I got therapy. I got treatment for what turned out to be adult ADHD that had gone undiagnosed for 51 years. I started antidepressants and generally turned my life around. She never noticed, and I'm regularly accused of being a lousy drunk by her. About every other week or so. I'd say it hurts, but I'm in such a better place now that I truly don't give a s what a toxic person like that thinks, which makes her even more negative. I've stayed married to her for 26 years. But I don't think I'll make it much farther. Boyfriend has financial struggles, not because of anything he's ever done. His mother is mentally unwell and his father can't work for various reasons. He's been the sole provider for his family since he was a teen and has to balance his job on top of being the top 5% in his university cohort to maintain 2 scholarships. He had to put his mom in a psychiatric hospital by himself when he was 19. He had no support from relatives except his grandma, who doesn't have an income herself but tries her best. He currently is raising his younger brother and paying rent for the both of them. He acts strong about it but he gets financial panics very often. In comparison, my family isn't rich but we're definitely lucky enough to be comfortable. My parents pay my tuition, but I still work part-time, teaching, because don't get any pocket money and I also enjoy it. I'm a very frugal person though, so a lot of it just gets saved up. So, sometimes I secretly transfer some money into his account. I pretend to borrow his phone and delete the SMS notification off of it. He's never noticed. It's not a lot of money but I like to think it helps him get a little bit of extra something.